morning once again to all of y'all. We meet here for our second lecture. I'll just check whether you are able to see me. You can post your comments. Yes, I can see comments now. Most of you are wishing me good morning. Well, thank you. Same to you. We have actually started with, I'll just shut the voice so that it does not echo here. I'll have to. Yeah, so now I can see what you are seeing as well. 32 of you all have already joined, and let us start. The other day, we spoke about a lot of things as to geography as a subject, what is the importance of geography. Then we also spoke about how geography is so very important with regards competitive exams. I have always experienced that around 7 to 8% of the questions in any competitive exam are directly related to geography, and then there could be applied as well. We spoke about notes. I would just like to repeat that once again, in the sense that I prefer not to give notes, because nowadays we are into the internet and the Google media. And having said so, a lot of information that it comes in the form of notes is already there. And I want you all to make a habit to visit the net and to read beyond the syllabus. It's only when you read beyond the syllabus that you would be in a position to handle the subject. And this goes true for not only geography, but majority of your subjects. By the way, I'm open to comments now. You can put in your comments if you have any questions while I speak. If I get a hold of those comments, I would try to answer them as well. We have grown to a size of now 40 who are watching this. Coming to the department, I spoke about the geography department in the induction, but then a few things that we missed out in the departmental information, I would like to elaborate with reference to the students of FYBA particularly. First thing, the geography department has one of the largest number of PhD holders. As far as my information goes, we have at least 10 individuals who are holding their PhD, and at least a couple of more who are pursuing their PhD as such. So be assured that you are in good hands as far as geography as a subject is concerned. A very important aspect of the department is one of the academic fest that we have been organizing for a significantly long period. In fact, I could proudly say that our festival is one of the oldest festival, barring aside the college annual festival, which is called as the Urmi. As far as the academic festival is concerned, GeoFest is our very own fest, and we started it way back in 2009, if I'm not wrong. And what exactly does this fest help you in? Well, on the organization side, I would say that 80% of this festival is organized and put together by the students. Teachers play a role as far as guiding aspects is concerned, looking into the financial aspects, communicating with the college, getting y'all the required resource persons if you are not able to get those. Of course, FYBA students play a helping hand. Most of this is done by the postgraduate students and the third year students of arts and science. We have a hierarchy wherein we have the overall chief coordinator amongst the students, and then you have event heads, and then you have people, a team, which is helping them. I'm coming to the events of that, but then before that, I would like to stress that any fest, it may be GeoFest, or it may be a fest of the political science, or let us say the psychology department, the sociology department, or any other department as such. We need to look at it as a teamwork. Now, when we are on campus, we used to be on campus, and I hope and I pray that very soon we would be on campus to do all these things and to be experiencing all these things happening around us. But when we used to be on campus, one of the major things that these fairs teach you is to work in a team. uh, why would I say that this you have to be taught to work in a team? There is a part of human geography, I would say, urban geography, I would say, social geography, as I would say, when it comes to team building. There was a time wherein Indians were natural team builders and team workers. But I would say last 20 years or so, things have changed. 25 years, let us say, things have changed. When we went into what is called as the liberalization, globalization, and privatization era around 91 onwards, you'll see that the structure of Indian families changed, particularly in urban areas. The size of these families. Now, you would say, why am I saying this? I would tell you all that this is a part of geography that we need to learn. Why geography called as the mother of all sciences? I would say mother of all subjects. This is just one example, and I'm going to come to the other examples as well. So the whole scenario, the urban scenario, changed, and while this changed, what happened is the family sizes went from large undivided families to nucleated families as such, and we had a father and a mother, and at the most two childs, preferably one child, and you would be an experience to that most of y'all, I believe, this would be an interesting research topic, I would rather say, of all the students. Let us first start with FYBA, or in fact, if you want to take up a larger project, it could be all art students, then the FYBA students. And how we go about that is you divide them into various subjects as such, and then we take up information subject wise, that okay, the students in geography, we have around 150 students for English, and another 100 students for Marathi, and we would put them together and ask each student as to how many, what is the size of their family, do they have any siblings in the house, and we take a note of all of this. This is how research goes on. And I'm going to speak on research also, and I want students to start thinking at least of research in their first year, and then we would go into actually working around research and research papers and work, and presenting this research work. And what I'm narrating is just a simple type of research that we could perform. You take all the names and you take all their birth dates and of course the number of siblings, etc., and you would see as to how many of them are living in a nucleated family, single child, uh, two children in a house, and three children. You'll see that obviously a larger number would obviously be range between one and two children in a house as such. You could do the same for second year, you could do the same for the third year. You could further divide this sample, I would call it, into how, from where do these people come from. Do they come from urban parts of Maharashtra? Do they come from rural parts of Maharashtra? Do they come beyond Maharashtra? If they are from beyond Maharashtra, again you could divide them into say rest of India, rural, rest of India, urban, and we could get a trend as to how things are operating. And on this, you could write an explanatory or an interpretive note, and you could come up with a few observations. These observations could be that the family sizes are small in urban areas, the family sizes still remain to be a bit larger in the rural areas, and so on and so forth. This would be a fantastic observation. This is what is called as temporal observation. Of course, this is spatial also. Geography is a subject is which deals with the studies, the spatial and the temporal studies of this planet. Now, what do we mean by the temporal and spatial studies of the whole Earth? Okay, normally you'll see that a very crude definition of geography would be that geography is the study of the whole Earth. Well, before I come to speaking on geography, I just digressed into the fact that we were speaking about teamwork and GeoFest and different academic fests as such. So What happens in nucleated families is, and particularly when both the mother and father are working, the parents are working, this would also be a sample that you ask people, that whether the mother is housewife or who is actually working in the house. Is it a single working house, or single parent work, single working house with both the parents, of course, and whether both the parents are working. It would be very interesting to note whether any one of us are single parent children as well. So these could be observations, and these tell you how the nature, how the structure of sociology, the geography of population is changing in different areas. Of course, this would be a study now. This would not be an aerial study. We are in a college, and a title, of course, would be around the college. But anyway, coming back to teamwork once again, what exactly it means is that the impact I was referring to is normally you'll see that single child families, in single child families, the children tend to be pampered, and the parents normally compensate for the time that they are supposed to be spending with children, to conceding to their demands. It could be, say, what would you say? It would be eating habits, it would be playing habits, it would be screen time watching, it could be who handles the remote in the house, and so on and so forth. There are so many aspects that you could just go into the details of. Now, what happens is, over the period of time, the child gets adamant. I'm not saying 100% of them get adamant, but the children tend to get adamant, and eventually they lose the skill of working or getting things done. And that is why I would say that once you come in on undergraduate classes, you would again want to be a part of team. At times you would be leading teams, at times you would be helping the leader, at times you would be volunteering as far as the teams are concerned. That is the importance of the team. You carry this teamwork from college when you go beyond college in your various working places as well. And you'll see that those who are able to blend in team, any role they want to play. You may have been a team leader in the college, but you'll see that you could be a junior in your class, in your workplace, and you immediately would not be say called to be leading a particular team as such. But slowly, gradually, if you are team material, the management would obviously be looking for such people, and you would grow with that. So that is the reason. Coming to the academic part, I would say that in GeoFest, we bring out a lot of issues for academic issues for the students, and we have been changing the events time and again. And we would be changing them to this year also if we are not able to go on the on-campus mode. This would be a challenge for us to actually work online, to conduct an event online, a fest online, I would rather say. And those who are of y'all are good in all these issues, you could already start thinking about how could you help the department in organizing this fest online. We could have a discussion of this in our WhatsApp group chat as well. uh, well, uh, we have quizzes, and we have the perfect geographer, wherein he is supposed to perform. She is obviously supposed to perform in various aspects of knowing geography, and the one who comes out in flying colors is, of course, crowned the Miss and Mr. Geography for that particular year. Then we have guest lectures. We call the best of the people on topic. I forgot to tell you all that each year we have a theme for the GeoFest as such, and we invite resource persons with regards that particular theme. Themes range from physical geography to human geography to population to environment to climate change and whatnot. So all this is obviously going to help you to build your subject knowledge also. We have Rangoli competitions, and we have photographic competitions, which are further divided into two parts, in the sense that you have professional camera photography, and you have mobile photography. You feel that you have a very beautiful scene in front of you, and you click that, and if it matches to the theme, you could just make an entry into that. And besides that, we have models, various types of models. We have charts. So all these, and of course, we have a lot of fun with that. students blend with each other, they get to know each other, and so on and so forth. Uh, this event initially was 3 days, but then we thought that we were losing a day on academics, so we have cut it down to 2 days. But if you have plans to give us events which could match up for 3 days, we will obviously rethink on organizing this for 3 full days as such. Mind you, it is very, very exhausting, and here is where in fact it is the chance for you to say and of course to display that you are a team material, as I would put it as such. Uh, Besides this, our department also works on a lot of research projects. Presently, we are into a lot of research projects. I would say at least 3 to 4 research projects going on. So, and of course, at least 5 of us in the department are research guides also. Any one of you all who wants to pursue a career in geography and eventually wants to take up a PhD studies, you have a lot of scope in our department. As I said in my induction lecture also, we are of the very few departments who cater to you right from your 11th standard all the way to your PhD studies also. That is as far as your our department is concerned. Any other information required, you could just ask for the said information on our WhatsApp group. I'm obviously going to open up the WhatsApp group once we finish off with our lecture as such. I did speak about evaluations a bit, but before that, I keep digressing. That is the problem with online, that you keep digressing. I was also referring to the notes aspect. Okay, I prefer students making their own notes. I'll give you ample of material. As far as the first semester is concerned, I would say it's more than the book that I have just posted the PDF copy of which has been uploaded on my drive, and I've given you all the access to that particular thing. You could download it, and I've already told you all that don't start reading into the book now. Today, I would say that you could start reading into the first few pages of that particular group, and we could have discussions on that. I am planning to switch to Zoom very soon, and probably next week we could have our lectures on Zoom, and there is where we could interact with each other also. Yes, because it's going to be an unpaid version as such. It was going to be a 40-minute session, but it hardly matters if we are going to be well organized, say in the sense we start with our content immediately, we all log on. Okay, there are no latecomers, and I don't have to allow students into the chat room regularly and so on and so forth. We start in the second to third minute of our session, and we could intensively interact for the next 40 minutes or so. Zoom also would be interesting, particularly when it comes to sharing of video clips and sharing of PPTs and so on and so forth. Not that it cannot be done here. I'm just exploring the chance of using another platform as well. As far as evaluation is concerned, I am planning to do it on the Google network, Google Classrooms as such. Most of this evaluation would be MCQs. I am planning, I'm not very sure right now, I am planning to have MCQs at the end of each chapter that we finish, and you would have to attempt those in a given number of time. And we will have a common agreement as to how we should be marking our questions as far as MCQ is concerned. And I would like to have your opinion on that, in the sense that there are platforms wherein if you are the first to finish, you get a larger credit. If you are the last to finish, you get lesser credit. Not that anybody fails as such. We could obviously limit the thresholds of the whole scoring pattern as such, but that could make it interesting. And it would be an incentive for a smart student who would want to finish first. Of course, at the same time, we would also add negative marking if you all allow. As I said, we are going to keep all options open, and obviously it's not next or the week next to that immediately we are going to have any MCQ test as such. It's going to be some time before we actually land up into some tests. But then Let us have a common consensus on how these could be conducted. Uh, Besides that, obviously, you could have open book assignments that would also be possibly assigned to you on on the Google Classroom platform. Also, I could be giving you questions. You'll have to write it. You'll have to type it. You'll have to make PDFs of the same, and you would have to post them to me. Let us see that how that also works. I'm expecting that you're making notes of how we are going to evaluate ourselves, and you probably would have questions at the end of the session, and you would post them so that the next time I come up for the next session, I would have those list of questions with me, and I would try to answer those questions as far as possible. That is how we come to get to know to each other. That is how we learn the subject together, and so on and so forth. Uh, if you can think of any other ways in which we could evaluate ourselves, I am open to suggestions. Don't worry. Uh, then, coming to the syllabus part of it, before I come to the syllabus, you would be obviously wanting to know what is the basics around geography, because the syllabus is one part and geography is obviously is beyond that. So before I speak about the syllabus and I display the syllabus in front of you, I would first discuss on the basic premises of geography. As I said just a few minutes ago, that as far as geography is concerned, the most simplest definition of geography would be I read a very elaborate but a very confusing definition one of our students had made on our group, and I did correct that student that yes, you have used up all the words which would explain geography, but they are not in a link as such. So I would suggest that when we learn a particular subject, irrespective of geography or any other, I always advise students to look for the core definition, a definition which would, in fact, bring about all that is that is done in this particular subject as such. The second thing I advise students is to make a list of the most important terms for that particular subject. Every subject, I believe, has the 50 best words that are very oftenly used in that particular subject. One, and secondly, it's those things that make up that particular subject. Now, if you ask me what would be the prime subjects of geography, I would say space in the sense SPACE, in the sense you are sitting somewhere, you're occupying some space. That is what I mean by space. And time. Okay, you'll see geography is the study of Earth in space and time. So when I speak about India, when I speak about China, when I speak about USA, when I speak about Australia, I am speaking about the land surface in space. Some of these countries I mentioned are in the northern hemisphere. Some of these mentioned are in the southern hemisphere. So space. And then I would refer to time. Now, of course, time is a very relative concept. You go to the Olympics and you go to the 100-meter dash. You have every second divided into milliseconds and milliseconds, and that is the context in which we measure time in Olympics. But then, say the normal time that we measure in geography is day or night. That is another way in which we measure time. You extend the scale, which is the third word I would say is important in geography. Map is another word I would say in geography. But then coming back to the time aspect as such, season is one thing also that is a very elaborative explanation to geography also. So of the whole year, normally you'll see that geography tends to divide the year into a summer and a winter. Now many a times the summer, like in India, is further divided into the dry part of the summer and the wet part of the summer. Now you would just be astonished to know, you would obviously be wanting to ask me a question that how can there be a wet part in summer? Let me tell you that there always has to be a wet part in summer. In the sense, if you take a bird's eye view of rainfall falling in different parts of the world, you'll see that say unlike or most of the rain that falls in yeah, Mr. Jay Wagire, I'm going to come to the syllabus. Don't be patient. I've been telling y'all that don't be patient. I'm going to handle this subject in the most easiest way possible. And obviously I need to market my subject so that you take it up for your specialization next year. So don't worry, I'm going to deal with each and everything. But what happens is, when I give you the syllabus, you immediately narrow down, your focus narrows down. And though having said this, I've already put up the syllabus in our WhatsApp group, but I don't want you all to narrow down. I just want you all to have a very broad perspective of geography first, and having understood the say wider perspective, we will then focus on our syllabus once we are done with the broader perspective. I was speaking about the spatial aspect, and then we spoke about the temporal aspect, from milliseconds to day and night and to seasons. And then, of course, the summer season and the wetter part of the summer season. You'll see that in Indian conditions, the summer starts with somewhere around March. So, March, April, and May are the hotter parts, the drier parts of summer. And June, July, August, some parts of September also is. Um to say the wetter part of the season. Most of the rain in major parts of the world falls in summer, because rain is a product of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Evaporation requires energy. This energy comes in summer. So rain has to fall in summer. There are very few places in the world which have rainfall in winter. And I will leave you with this trivia question for the day. Of course, I'm not going to leave you right away, but then this is one of the questions that I would like to pose for you all, that which climatic region in the world has its rainfall in winter, mind you. Yes, there are areas wherein you would have rainfall throughout the year. Say, for example, the equatorial belt has the rainfall throughout the year. It would be very interesting to understand how and why does the equatorial region have rainfall throughout the year. If you have your answers, you could just put them down, and then we could discuss them when we meet next time, probably on Zoom. Then you have what are called as the West European type of countries, which again have rainfall throughout the year. Besides these two, you'll see that major parts of climatic regions in different parts of the world have their rainfall in summer, for an exception of one another climatic region which has no rainfall in summer. The only time it has its rainfall is in winter. And I would like you all to just tell me what that climatic region is about. So that's the time aspect as such. And then you go into a year, and you go into a century, and then you go into say a millennium. You'll see that history speaks about things in years. And you'll see that if I'm speaking about the temporal aspect, that's the time aspect. A very interesting example I could give you all is about the Tista River. I don't know how many of you all have um are known to the Tista River as such. It's the present tributary of the Brahmaputra River. Um and according, I don't know whether you all know this, that once upon a time, the Tista used to be a tributary of the Ganga, and it kept on shifting and shifting and shifting till the time that it caught up with Brahmaputra. And today, it's no longer a tributary of the Ganga. In fact, it is the tributary of the Brahmaputra River. So, studying how this, because you'll see that these things take time. It could be 50 years, it could be 100 years, it could be 200 years, it could be 500 years, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to physiographic aspects, you'll see that we are actually uh, studying this on this particular scale. Then we go to a larger scale, wherein we could be speaking about the formation of the Himalayas. The formation of the Himalayas has taken place around 50 to 60 million years ago. That's 5 to 6 crore years ago. And in fact, the Earth has been older to that. Another question I would like to pose to you all is, what is the age of the Earth? Okay, and how has the Earth been handling itself throughout this age of the Earth? And geology explains this in time, and that is called as the geological time scale. It's a very interesting aspect, not a part of our syllabus, but then I every year I make it a point that even my art students, because it happens to be a part of FY BSc syllabus. Unfortunately, it's not a part of your syllabus, but I make it a point to bring it to you, and I do explain it in the class as well, the geological time scale. It's very interesting to know about the geological time scale if you're studying geography and allied aspects of the Earth also. So studying the Earth on a spatial scale, studying the Earth on a temporal scale is what we do in geography. Okay, in fact, you'll see that last time I did say that geography many a times is referred to as jack of all trades and master of none. That has been happening basically because there had to be one subject or a few subjects which had to take care of how we understand the earth around us. Now you would say, what has that to do with geography? I'll share a few experiences with me that I travel a lot. It's only recently after Corona that I have been traveling on in private vehicle as such. But I love traveling in public vehicles, and there is a reason for that. I'll come to that at a later point of time. But say, for example, I've experienced this many a time that I get into conversation with people who are waiting for buses at bus stops, and then the moment they know that I am a teacher in geography, they will start asking me questions like, uh, say, why is it raining so heavily these days, and why is it that the cities tend to get flooded, or why is it that there was a landslide in Kathmandu, or why is it that India and China are having such a tussle with regards their borders, and so on and so forth. What I want you all to note is the variety of topics that people want to know from a geography teacher. They would ask about climate change, they would ask about politics, they would ask about voting, they would ask about EVMs. Okay, so every question they wanted to ask, they tend to feel that a geography teacher would answer that. Now you would say, so what's the big deal in that? Okay, any teacher could answer that. Now just imagine a person who is a teacher in chemistry or a physics, and they are traveling by a bus, and I don't think anybody would dare to ask questions to a chemistry teacher lest he would start with the periodic table and the compounds and the mixtures, isn't it? Similarly, as far as a physics teacher is concerned, you tend to ask them questions, and then they would start with angular velocities and momentums and gradient and slopes and acceleration and so on, and so, mass, volume, and so on and so forth. Having said that, let me tell you that a lot of things in physics and chemistry are to do in geography, and that is why I say these are advanced subjects in geography, and that is why I always say that geography is the mother of all sciences as such. Geography is one subject which tends to stay at the ground, and that is why it has never tried to master itself. It has always attended to various subjects so that it could be in a position to answer the questions of a common man. Okay, common men have a lot of could have a lot of questions, and it is these questions that need to be answered by someone. Yes, every subject is important. I'm not demeaning any subject, as a matter of fact, but you'll see that every subject has its focus, has its core. So while chemistry, physics, and let us say biology, say psychology, as a matter of fact, also went into the more scientific aspect. You'll see that other subjects like history went into dating. Geography kept has kept with knowing about a few things about all these subjects bit by bit, and trying to make it simple for the common man. That is the role that I would say, and I insist that a geographer has. When anybody would ask as to what would be the contribution of a geographer to the society, I would say he would make things from science, commerce, and arts simpler and understandable to the students, or to anybody who would have query. Now, students does not necessarily mean a student going to college, officially college. You'll see that anybody who has a question for a particular subject is a student of that particular subject. Having a question is one thing, and trying to find an answer for the question is another thing. So you should always have questions. You should look around for people who would be in a position to answer your questions also. That is how you would be updating yourselves as far as various aspects are concerned. So that is, I would say, the scope of geography. We are going to do it officially as a part of your syllabus also. So geography does dwell into a lot of things, and for a significant period of time. Initially, let us say, it's one of the oldest subjects. We all know that with a subject like let us say mathematics is something which is old. Of course, we did not have numbers then, but then people did keep count at even the earliest time of human civilizations. And just imagine the tribes and human being in the very early phase of human civilization. When he looked around, He identified a tree and he kept it in mind. That was observation. He identified a river and he kept it in mind. He identified that water used to flow through these rivers and he kept it in mind. All this was information that man was gathering. And for centuries together, man kept gathering this information. Initially, he started about his immediate surroundings. Then he started traveling, initially on foot. And then, of course, we know that the Industrial Revolution and how the Industrial Revolution took the Europeans to the different continents and so on and so forth. So as people traveled and visited different continents, they gathered more information and more information. And in fact, as a matter of fact, geography till the last century, in fact, even today, we keep gathering information as such. But there is a new thing that has been attached to this particular aspect, and that is trying to analyze the information also. Why is this so? Yes, I know that you have the Himalayas, and gathering information, I also know that the Himalayas are made up of sedimentary rocks, and that the Himalayas are a folded mountain made out of sedimentary rock. What could be the process that the Himalayas have grown to a height of the tallest peak, that is 8,850 meters as such? Trying to understand this process, trying to study this process, and differentiating a fold mountain from a fault mountain and a fault mountain from a volcanic mountain is a process of understanding geography. That is what geography does. You see that it has been doing for the last century or so. In the sense, it's not more than 200, 300 years ago that human beings believed that the earth was flat. And also, you must have learned this in philosophy, those who have philosophy as such, that for a significant period of human civilization, man believed that the earth was the center of the universe. That was called a geocentric, the concept. But then we said, we now know, of course, that it's not the earth that is the center of the earth, and neither is the sun, but the solar system is basically revolving around the sun, and each planet has its own axis, and even the earth has its own axis. And with regards to that, I am going to speak about the axis of the earth and so on and so forth for a particular day that is coming very soon. uh, in fact, I would say in a couple of days. My next question, third question, is what is that day that I have been referring to in this particular lecture? So it's three questions that I have posed for y'all for today. And I'll stop here with regards to geography, but some homework that I would like to give you all is that when we are going to uh, as far as Indians are concerned, I've seen that many few Indians are very conscious about the weather. I'm not saying climate, weather. There is a difference between weather and climate. And as against to that, you go to Europe, you go to America, that's North America and Canada. Sorry, that's USA and Canada as well. You'll see that people there are very conscious about the weather. It could be because of the extremity that the is there, and because of that, they are every day before they go out of their house, they would tend to uh, say check whether it is going to be shiny, it is going to be cloudy, or whether it is going to be snowfall, or whether there is going to be rain. So I would like to start with us geographers actually to try and start analyzing these things and make it a habit to just see into what could be the possible weather for today. You would say, sir, it's already available in our mobile phones, and being available in the mobile phones in the form of Google, why should we go in for other aspects as such? But you'll see that Google gives you just the numeric aspects of the weather. I would want you all to go into the pictorial aspects as such, and that is why the fourth thing that I would like to leave you all with today is that you go to Google App Store, and look for an app called as Weather and Radar, WEATHER and Radar. Note it down if you as you would want to note it, as you want to check for it. Weather and Radar. It's of course a free app to start with. It's of course you can upgrade it to a premium app by paying some premium. But let me tell you that I have been using it for last 4 years. I have not ever not felt the need to upgrade it to a premium one. The difference between premium and free one is that it's ad free. That's the only difference, let me tell you, and that is why I would not insist on you all to go for the premium one. But I would insist on all of us to have that app, and how to use that particular app. Of course, you could go into that once you have downloaded it. You could go into that particular app, and you could play with that app as well. But how to use it, what are the various aspects of that particular app, I would be discussing it in further details when we meet the next time. This was something that I wanted to share with your last lecture itself. But as I said in the initial ice-breaking lectures, I'm going to share the various applications that geography would have in the day-to-day things around us. And that is why there are so many things to share that I tend to miss out on a few things here and there. And whenever they come to my mind, I do share it with you all as such. So there are 4 things that I have asked you all to do. You have ample amount of time. As far as your lectures are concerned, we could have, say, your timetable says that we are going to have 3 lectures a week. Now, that is a timetable for online lectures. Let me tell you, on campus, we are supposed to have 4 lectures in geography. And the 4th lecture, invariably, of most of the subjects happens to be a 7 o'clock lecture on one of the days in the in the week as such. And I had made a very interesting assignment for the students of FIB. The 7 o'clock lecture used to be our documentary lecture. We used to screen a documentary based on geography and allied aspects in the class, and we used to share our views on that. Of course, we could do that online also, but before that, as I said, we would be required to actually know a lot of things more in geography before we actually enter. Let me frankly admit that I was not able to put up the syllabus for you all. I would say that I actually had the syllabus with me. If you're not believing me, I could make you all believe that, in the sense that let me share it and show it to you that here I had actually put up the screen, put it up, and I was waiting for the time. But as I said, I tend to there are so many things that we need to learn in geography before we actually enter into the syllabus as such. So probably next time, I hope I come up to the syllabus next time. I have given you the syllabus again. This is also there in the group, but discussing it with you is going to be another interesting aspect as such. Anyway, I'll just stop sharing and go back to our normal thing. Uh, so there's going to be some time before we actually go into the theory part, but be assured that what we are discussing, even before we are entering into the theory part, is equally important as far as the equally important as far as the academic part is concerned. Students are asking, what is the third question? Oh my God. I was so engrossed with giving you the lecture that I could not list these questions. And believe me, I don't have it written in front of me. It just came to my mind, and I thought of sharing with you all. I am not in a position to give you the questions once again, but you could just run through this lecture and just check. I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, somebody is asking me, Anushka Aloni is asking about the name of the app, Weather and Radar. I will put a screenshot of that in our group in the moment we finish. Yeah, Weather and Radar, somebody has already put it up, but then I would also put the screenshot of that, and you can just play with that app. Learning is playing, let me tell you. If you are going to have something in mind, and you'll see that these things will grow into inhibitions, and these will grow into prejudices. See, no subject is easy or hard. No subject is good or bad. That is what I have studied in my course. Of course, I had sorry again, I've not given you a full introduction of mine. The next time, probably again, we already have a list of things to do. before we meet for our next lecture. Anyway, so we will open up to each other, say slowly and gradually, but I would again insist that you enjoy every subject. Okay, I repeat, no subject is good or bad, no subject is easy or hard. If mathematics would have been hard, let me tell you, people would not have scored 100 out of 100 in mathematics. So it's basically how you look at that particular subject. What is your liking, and what is your aptitude? Do you have the aptitude for that particular subject? Is what is more important. I have been speaking for the last 45 minutes now. We have been live for 45 minutes. That's all for today. I believe you would have to prepare for logging on to your next lecture as well. So I would stop here today. Thank you. We had a constant number of around 60 students watching this broadcast this day. Of course, it's 20 less to what we had the other day. I understand there are a lot of challenges with regards net pack and availability of a screen in a house and so on and so forth. So I would not be insistent as far as attending is concerned. But as you all know, that the more you hear to it, the more you would be understanding the subject. As somebody has come out with the question, sir asked about the upcoming day related to, yes, the upcoming important day as far as in September with regards to geography, I would say. So that is another question that I wanted you all to, we could discuss this in our WhatsApp, or we could discuss it in our next lecture also. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Stay safe for the weekend. Sorry, and stay fine, and take care of all of y'all around yourself. Stay away from Corona. Thank you. See you next time. Thank you very much.